Hello and welcome to the Mobius Development Podcast, a game development log of a senior game development project. I'm Casey.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Alex.
And we're done. Kinda.
Kinda.
We're technically done, but also nowhere near done.
Right?
We're done for the school year.
And we're
done as
being
undergraduates.
A senior game development project.
Yes, it's
true.
no longer a senior game development project. It's just a game.
It's just a game.
It's just a game made
It's
by
an
some
indie game
people
now.
that know
The
each
new
other
intro will
and are
say
friends.
indie there instead.
Right?
Indie.
Right?
But so much of the intro is about being a log of a senior development.
We're getting
Well,
a new
that's
intro.
season
This is
one.
the end.
We're
Getting a
new
new
intro.
So this is the
intro.
last
Season.
episode. Are we going to put
This is the
final
season
in the
finale.
title? Are we one of those? Okay.
Is that clickbait? Is that clickbait?
No, remember, season 2 is clickbait.
Yes. Yes.
That's where we hit it big.
It's not even really season 2 though. It's like a new
No,
thing.
it's season 2. I'm gonna call it season 2 internally.
Yeah, but not like externally.
No, I'm gonna change the season number internally on the podcast to season 2.
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that now.
I was like, I didn't even know there was an internal season number.
Yeah, there is. I don't know where it shows up, but there is one.
That's crazy.
I
Is
said
it
it when I
because of
upload the
Anchor?
podcasts.
Oh. Oh. I bet you if you looked at it on iTunes, Apple Podcast app, you'd get it sorted into seasons.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna look right now.
So yeah, we
On
did
my
it.
iPhone.
We're at the end. Our
It's true.
We are at the
yes.
end.
version 1.0.1 is live.
Preceded
Yes.
by the shortest lived version of
The
the game.
shortest lived game version.
Which was version 1.0.
Well,
It
no,
got,
version
tested a bit, and we fixed some
0.11 was
bugs.
the shortest because it was only one day. 1.0
Right.
lived for a weekend.
You're right. I'm wrong. You're right. Moving
We're gonna
up in
have
the
to
world.
break that record pretty soon and make a version that's only alive for half a day.
It's only live for an hour.
Yeah. What takes us an hour to get them all uploaded?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you take it down.
And then we take
Right.
it down and immediately upload another one.
That's
Yeah.
like when I'm faded and I forget to turn on a scene and I upload it and I look at it and I'm like and then I have to re-export it.
I did it. Well, that doesn't count as a new build though.
No, it's
fucking
like
up
it's a new
build
version
upload.
number.
It does get a new version number? Well, alright then.
So we can tell people, hey, go check out version 1.0.2 where the game doesn't load because the scenes are turned off.
Again,
You'll love it.
thinking
It's a
ahead.
great game.
Thinking many months ahead. New game. The canvas will only be used for canvas things.
Only used for UI. It's a crazy, blasphemous world you're talking about.
Yeah, crazy blasphemous world. And we're working in 2D, so we don't have to really... We can use particles, though. Paula will be happy about that.
Right? We can use a particle system.
Yeah, and if watching all those mix and jam videos has taught me anything, it's that you could do literally anything you want with particles.
Right? We'll have a camera that its position actually influences the game. We could do camera shake.
Well, I figured out how to do the Metroidvania camera follow. The bounding boxes for a unique map.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I know how to do it.
I believe it.
I think we're getting ahead.
It's got that very specific like camera bordering. Because like you gotta walk up to a door and the camera won't move until you've gone through that door and all that stuff. But that's future stuff. Let's talk now about different future stuff.
Different future
we want
stuff.
to talk about
We must
things that
talk
happened in the past.
About the past.
I think we should go chronologically.
Yeah, the beginning of
Okay.
the podcast
So, guys-
is the past.
The past.
Right?
Things that have already happened.
Things that have already happened.
Like the
Technically,
showcase.
released a game.
Released a game.
to the
That did
showcase.
happen before the showcase.
That did.
Yes.
A
and then
little
the
bit
showcase
before.
happened.
That is
Well, also
chronologically.
before the showcase, there was a whole lot of like, oh my god, we need to make 10 million videos and upload 10 million screenshots and
Yeah, there was a
finalize
lot
the
of,
website and
Yeah.
and
then I was like-
Uh,
Yeah, and I was like, please God, I know you two both have a lot more work to do unrelated to this, but I need these screenshots.
right?
I need some form of approval on these things that I'm making so that I'm not just like the master of what our showcase website looks like.
yeah, it
And
all
then-
coincided with like me and Alex's other senior project like turn-ins, so it was kind of like we were like, okay, Friday we got to be out ski because we got like
Friday,
papers to write
we're shutting
and like
down. And then I was
short
just like,
stories to
okay.
compile.
And then every show, all the showcase prep, just like went from not existing and not knowing what to do to just slapped in my lap, going, okay, I guess
Yeah.
I'll just do it all.
Well, definitely, I can at least speak for myself. I appreciate everything that you did to get it all on the road.
I'm glad
but
you
yeah, I think
clarified,
that-
Amanda, because I don't.
I just can't speak for you. I'm sorry.
It's nice to know that you don't appreciate me
Yeah.
and the work that I do.
Yeah,
No, we're upfront about
Amanda's
whether or
right. We
not
need
we
to be. The
appreciate
record needs
you.
to be straight. No, I appreciate you.
But I think
Casey.
it
Thank
was.
And that feels
Thumbs up.
disingenuous. That feels like an Instagram influencer apology. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got called out for doing it.
That's sad. I was going to say,
Yes.
it was hard to prep for the showcase because there was so little information on the showcase. And I think that was really a product of like the showcase being online this year. I didn't even realize until the showcase was happening that there was more to it than being a Twitch live stream. But like once we sort of got into it, and especially once the schedule went out, which was like the day or two beforehand, honestly, it made me realize like how much prep had gone into the showcase behind the scenes just to make it a really cool online experience. Like there's like a MMO version of the Digital Arts Research Center where all of the games are situated in physical space. There's a Minecraft server where
That
one
Minecraft
of the
server
teams
was a different team. I don't think that was connected to the showcase. I think they just did that.
just featured it. Well, I mean, there's still a lot of work that went into the showcase on all fronts then. That's what I'll say. But then there's also, the Twitch stream and the all the websites being compiled, and there was just a lot more work that went into it than I realized. But I mean, it became so last minute that it was like, oh, we've got like a day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of that showcase setup has always happened in the 2 days before the showcase.
Has it?
Except
Oh, I guess
that
you've
makes more sense
volunteered
when
before
it's in a physical space.
Yeah.
Because
I've
you're
been to
getting
the-
your sick posters
Yeah.
and your banners
Yeah.
and you're setting up your table and
Yeah, I've only ever been to the showcase as a I went both times I went showcasing something or at the artist alley. So I was always like behind a table with like a limited amount of time to run around.
yeah, I was able to be there twice, and then I was presenting something once, and then obviously this year was remote. So I will probably be going back to them to see others.
Yeah.
Because Ariana will
I'd love
be
to.
in her 170 series next year, so I got to go play that game.
Yeah. I'd love to come back especially if there's a showcase like next year in person. It'd be really cool. Good opportunity just to come back and be like, woo,
Yeah.
Santa Cruz.
Yeah, the same thing with like the alum meetups that they do at GDC and stuff. Like
Yeah.
if GDC comes back next year in a physical
Ooh,
location,
I wonder if there will be like a alumni Day of the Devs meetup.
I don't know, I'd go to that too.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Day of the Devs was really cool this year. Last
Now,
year?
we'll
I
have
guess
re-
it was
We'll
2019.
have
Right.
released Mobius by Day of the Devs 2020, so you can submit and try to go.
Hey, we might
Well,
have
no, there won't
something
be
new.
a Day of the Devs 2020 because it's in October.
Oh, yeah.
So
2021.
2020 October 2021. God
That
knows,
gives us-
right?
that
Because
Then
gives
whatever
us time
game
to,
we're working
like-
on at that time.
Yeah,
Will
that gives
also
us
have been
time to like
released.
get something
unless
under
we're like
our
going
belts.
ham in like a 2-year long thing.
Well, no,
Hey,
like
listen,
our
none of us
third
are
game
gonna
will
like
be in
have
development.
jobs, so like,
That's true, yeah. Might as well make like a crazy, intense 2-year long game.
the way that it feels with the job situation for me right now feels like making games will probably be more of like a side thing, like a hobby and a for fun, not for profit, probably not my job situation. We'll see how that turns out, but as I delve deeper into applying for jobs and feel continually more discouraged about getting a
Yeah.
games industry job, I feel like maybe this will be my games outlet, is this right here, and that will be
Yeah.
a
And
fun,
that will
not
be-
career focused
It'll
endeavor
be
for me.
Continue to build my portfolio so I can actually get a job outlet.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's
But we'll
better
see.
than
Who
like trying to
knows?
make a bunch of stuff by myself to build a portfolio
Yeah.
because. You make better work when you work with
Yeah.
people you want to work with. So
For one thing, I just don't have enough ideas by myself for
that's what the
anything.
rest of us are for. That's again our lack of ideas have explained why our next idea is loosely a Metroidvania game, a genre very much set in spaces that do not move, set on a train.
Our
It's
next
true.
game
Space that
is going to be
moves.
like take everything we did for this game and 180.
Right?
And 180
do
so that we can
everything
do other
differently,
stuff.
so we can,
Mm-hmm.
so that when
We'll
we
figure it
are
out.
applying
Well-
for jobs and they're like, "Have you ever made a platformer game?" We could be like, "Yeah."
Yes. Have you ever made a first-person shooter? Yes. Have you ever made a twin stick? Yes.
At this point,
ever
if we
made an
wanted to
MMO?
make a 3D game, I'd even be down to try it. It'd have to be super small scope because I've only ever made 3D models in my life, but
Right.
I would try it.
3D
I've made a
if we
few
look at
3D games
let's-
before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at 3D though. 3D might be like a game jam thing.
Mm-hmm,
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
Like we do big scale stuff in 2D because we know how to do it,
Yeah.
and we do small scale like demo-y stuff off of game jam prompts in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
So that we
I'm
have
gonna have
little...
to figure out what to do because
even
I don't
make a
think
VR
Maya
game.
2019 is gonna last me forever in student mode.
Just it's time to learn Blender.
I know,
I just signed up for that GitHub student thing while my email was still live, so I can get that year of Unity Pro
nice.
dark mode.
Mm-hmm.
Get a year of dark mode.
It's gonna be really rough when that's ripped away from you.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna hate it. I'm gonna be like, my eyes, they burn with white light. I'm gonna have to invest in those like gamer orange glasses that cut down light. But no, yeah, the showcase happened. We are still recording a podcast. Hi, professional. Oh, look, there we go. Orange gamer glasses. We were saying, let's. I think it would be fun to dig into a couple of the not Mobius highlights of the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
Talk them up a little bit. The link to the showcase website will be in the description of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're gonna link any individual games because I don't want to like pick favorites, even though we're right now about to pick some of our favorites.
Yeah. Well, we'll link our own game.
We always link our game, but we're
Yeah.
gonna link the showcase site.
That's a
so
given
like,
favorite.
if you liked a game that we're gonna talk about now, you
Mm-hmm.
can go play it. If you think
Yeah.
all of our favorite games are trash, you're wrong. But you can go and look and see if there's something more your speed as someone who is wrong about things. So so there were a lot of ones that I was surprised right out the gate with with like how some of these games have evolved, because I haven't seen Elitopia since it was pitched, and then their trailer
Did you
was
not
like, oh
see
my
it
God.
during playtesting?
I don't think I did. I don't remember it.
It was very like they had the skeleton of it in there for playtesting, but a lot came in for the final game.
Yeah, they had
They
that
had
frog.
like, old radio vibe. The frog mouth menu was great.
Yeah, I love the frog
Yeah, they
menu.
had,
I love their
I
design
hadn't
art
seen
in general.
I hadn't heard the sound yet, and I still don't know how I feel about the
It's
frog
exactly
mouth
what
menu
you'd
sound.
Well, no, but it's exactly what you'd expect from tapping on a frog mouth like that. though.
That is true. That is true.
But no,
They
like
were no longer floating. They were no longer a skyscraper floating in space by the final time, which
Yeah,
I
there was a
personally
background
really
environment.
appreciated.
That's the game.
Without
that
it felt a lot more like it was sort of a sandbox game.
yeah, The
'Cause
weight
that's what
of
that
their,
environment
their
applies.
voice
implies.
acting did a lot for their vibe.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah.
was their voice acting so good?
the voice acting
Like,
I
if you really
enjoyed.
listened to the madness that was going on that radio in the background,
Yeah. Well,
it was so good.
while me and Amanda were watching that one, I was talking about how maybe our next game should have running commentary.
Yeah, so me and Alex both agreed we love stuff like Portal, Stanley's Parable, Dr. Langeskov.
Yeah,
What are some of the others that we named that you named?
Bastion
Alex?
Bioshock.
has running dialogue like that, but Bastion is super unique in the way it does it.
How
Yeah.
does
Because
Bastion
it
do
does
it?
like
Bastion is
I've only ever
responsive
seen a
running
little bit of
dialogue.
Bastion.
So it has this like really amazing narrator who narrates what you're doing. So like on a
Oh.
micro level. So it like
Yeah, it's
adapts to
nuts.
the
Like,
your
there's a
play
full-
style and narrates what
Wow.
you're doing.
yeah. Michael
That sounds
talked about
really
it in interactive narrative. Like there's a full like content selection architecture thing back there that like figures out what you're doing and make sure lines don't overlap with each other. There's a GDC talk on it, I think.
Yeah.
Neat.
But
so we could try to go experimental with our audio commentary.
I think I want to say now, and things we're learning from Eltopia, I want to say we got to be really good with our writing though, because it's so easy for you to like do running commentary and then all your jokes fall flat because you're actually not very funny.
Well, I think comedy is very difficult. I think a lot of the games we mentioned are comedy games.
Because it was really funny.
Yeah. It's a very difficult thing to execute on, to have a comedic running commentary, especially without devolving into meta humor, which I don't think is for us.
Which was really good.
Eltopia is a good example. I think they did it. They did it really well.
Yeah, we would end up going meta, or Amanda and I's 12-year-old brains would take over, and it would just be like rip off Deadpool and
yeah. See, I feel like our style as creators would lead us more towards something like what is it called? The House of Edith Finch?
I know exactly what game you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's What Remains.
What Remains of Edith Finch.
What Remains of Edith Finch.
Something more of that than
a little more
a Stanley
serious.
Parable or Portal type experience, but
I think the gameplay behind, you can't base off running commentary though. I think your gameplay has got to be strong in front of that.
Yeah. It's just a very
that could be interesting because you could do that on the train game, because then you have this like Arthur Morgan Red Dead style narrator going through, and that's definitely something.
It is something. So another game is
I'm going down the schedule.
I can't remember anything in a vacuum.
Yeah, I'm going down the schedule. Starting with Eltopia was a good one because there was other stuff there that we could talk about.
Yeah. So many 3D games too. Like
so many 3D games that just like took that next step up. I think the next one I want to dive into is probably, I don't have a lot to say. Oh, son of a bitch. I accidentally opened something on my desktop. Is Tactikids, which I still don't quite understand their gameplay loop because it's hard to tell from watching. I think I'd have to play it.
Yeah.
But their like whole everything like you plan your whole move and then everyone's move happens at the same time. I really like. I like because I remember back from the pitch that it was like it was a turn. Because I remember it just being turn-based shooter. I'm like, that's really kind of boring.
Right. Do you remember? Or did you have the same experience where when they showed that same clip that they showed in the talk,
you finally realized
like,
what game it was?
This is that game.
Yeah, no, I had that realization. I was like, oh, this is that game.
Yeah. So when it was pitched, it was like a Unity. So cool. They used it. They mocked
like
up the game with like Unity primitives, like capsules shooting, little spheres.
No, and I was like, oh wait, that's super cool now.
I think the biggest thing that impressed me about that game was the detail of the models and the number of models that went into making such unique and colorful environments. Yeah. I personally was disappointed that you couldn't get like a more luxurious view of those 3D models.
Yeah, because you're looking at them from so far away and so vertically.
Yeah, I think you get to zoom in a little bit, like at points during your turn, but it wasn't like. It was the kind of environment that was like, I want to just go explore this environment. Like, I don't even care about like
cool
fighting.
They leaned really hard into like the kid-made architecture. I think they said that in their deep dive.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I didn't enjoy about it, and it might have just been like the people playing the Zoom thing, is that I would have to play that game with my brightness turned up.
Oh yeah, same.
Because I can't really I couldn't read the environments with like whoever was streaming its default brightness. It was very dark.
Yeah, I was definitely able to see better during the Twitch stream than I was during the Zoom playtesting. But yeah, it was relatively dark.
I don't know if that's an in-game setting or if that's just something that
it might be a product of recording too. Sometimes recording software tanks brightness.
No, but other than that, very, very, very cool, interesting.
Yeah, that dynamic duo doing the concept art to 3D model pipeline just over and over and over again, pumping out really cool models.
That just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I
think
finding that, I'm like, wow, you guys nailed it.
That's definitely like a serendipitous combination of two people's like personalities and working styles.
Yeah. If they got that third person who was really into substance designer, making textures, then they could just like...
Then they could make the whole world.
You could just make anything now.
Alright, moving on from there. The Scholars Play segment of the stream. I loved that.
It was very... Our TAs have very charismatic personalities.
Yeah, they go... It wasn't just that, though, because I've had some of those TAs before and not thought that. Mm-hmm. Mostly with Isaac, but then hearing him on stream, I'm like, oh my god, this guy's hilarious. Why did I never realize this when he was my TA? But watching that whole stream, they really enjoyed all 4 games they were playing.
I think part of that was also, not specifically moving on to the games, but part of just enjoying listening to the TAs is the TAs, like, they're all friends already. And when you're playing co-op games like that, and you've got people that know each other and, like, can joke around already,
it worked really well.
It worked well for like a streaming environment and like a watching experience.
And roommates playing boo-mates.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that they knew exactly who their audience was, and it's something you can't always do on Twitch. Mm-hmm. So when they like memed on stuff, they memed on like closer into design stuff. So it was like the like inherent behaviors driven by boo-mates, memeing that like, are you just trying to get me to clean my room more by the way that you're playing boo-mates with me?
Yeah, it's like, or with the context that all of these viewers have just spent 4 years learning about mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics.
Yeah, they're gonna meme about them for the next
meme
hour,
it up.
And they did. Watching them gush over Kigilantes was a real treat, because that game, because I remember we watched it play tested in like week 4, and I was like a little nervous, and then literally like when it was play tested like 2 weeks ago, and all their assets were, I'm like, oh my god, this game is adorable.
Yeah, no,
its art is good. Its art assets are good. You put a little leash on the bears. You didn't have to do that, but that little polish was really nice.
Did you notice the twirl that the bears do?
The barrel roll.
The barrel roll.
No, I didn't notice that. I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah,
Alex pointed it out to me.
When you get a bear past like the goal and it's like free, it literally just goes whoosh, like does like hops and does like a twirl. It's the most the most adorable thing.
No, but I
think the toucans did it too.
Yeah,
I liked how like when you got caught by the guard, you had to like do the lines on the chalkboard to get out. And
yeah,
I'm not hoping it was just a quick time event, but it was a good quick time event.
I'm hoping that they bring in a lot more. If they're continuing it in the summer, I actually don't remember. A number of games said that they are, but if they were,
might be. I don't know if they said anything.
Yeah.
If they are, I'd want to see a lot of different types of animals and like different mazes of the zoo that you have to navigate to get out of there, because I think there's a lot of potential to have a lot of fun. Their level design in
those first 2 was really good, so if they can add like 8 or 9 more levels, even just like 2,
I imagine
it would be great.
A lot more difficult for a team to continue going the bigger the team is. Like,
there were like 15 of them.
Yeah, there were 15 people.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's hard.
Were they the biggest team, or was Heart of Enya?
They were the biggest team if you include external collaborators. Yeah,
which I do. I do count external collaborators.
They were the biggest team, I think, by a couple people.
Yeah, like they didn't start out as the biggest team on pitch day, or not pitch day, but like after interviews. But yeah, now they are the biggest team.
And it shows. You can tell that they got a big team, and they got a big team that worked well together.
Yeah, they
made something very cool.
Yeah, because if you have a big team,
keynote art.
Yeah, if you have a big team, but that team doesn't work together, that's, I'd say, probably objectively worse than having a small team.
Yeah.
If your big team,
got problems.
Yeah, if your big team falls apart or has infighting.
Other games in that block, I didn't watch, again, because the stream was very long, and watched the whole thing intently, so I don't have a lot to say about Boo-Mates or Glitch Escape. Heart of Enya was done a horrendous disservice by the length of time it had to be
Yeah.
streamed.
Yeah.
Like,
I was noticing that too, because it was pretty much the same stuff we got to see during the playtest, which is sort of the intro,
opening
narrative, and the tutorial.
Yeah, which is, again, which it still hasn't alleviated. The one thing that I don't know about is that in the tutorial, the game still feels like Fire Emblem.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Fire Emblem, but what makes me want to play this more? The characters are fantastic. Their personalities really bleed through the art. That's really good. Their cut-ins are really good. What Max said about, like, the way they taught you in the tutorial to wait your move, I really liked. There was a lot of really good stuff in there. But also, I don't know how many. Max was bragging about, like, how they've made, like, tons of maps. I don't know how many maps there are. I don't know how unique and different those maps are. I don't know if it's... There's a lot of unknowns where, like, I need to watch this.
Just from the showcase.
Because none of us
they said they're going to stream it again.
Yeah, none of us have played it, but apparently it is... they focused on content. Like, they got their mechanics down early, and they were just like, we're going to pump out content.
I think it's also got a really solid, or not really solid, but a large amount of polish, which I think that they were also able to focus on during this quarter. I don't know really what their production cycle was like, but me and Alex were talking about
a little bit of it at the very end of winter, and it looked basically like it does now, except just the art has been taken up a level. So it looks like they had it mechanically down by then, which was the point. That was like what our game was kind of the exception, that we were still implementing mechanics in spring because it's just the way our game works.
Yeah, I mean, it was frowned upon.
But what else were we going to do?
I know, yeah. I mean, we could have just scoped extremely differently, but...
Yeah, but I think, again, our mechanical... Like, our mechanics were in, we just had to work them differently, and we had more technical bugs later on than some people would have. But, like, our kind of game is one where it's like, your core mechanic is moving and working in an environment, and we had it before we came in.
Yeah.
So it was all about little unique things.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was about implementing each puzzle.
That's why I'm looking forward to that Heart of Enya stream that they said they're going to do at some point in the summer.
Yeah, I hope they tweet about it so that I know when it's happening.
Yeah, I will hopefully watch. I mean, we're on that sign up list too for additional summer streams. So
cool.
Yeah, I also I considered doing Let's Plays, but so many of the games are 2-player and up only. Heart of Enya is a game I could just live
stream it. But I think the other big thing is, I forgot what I was gonna say. I think it would be cool after a while to have a couple of the Scholars Play guys stream our game. Like, yes, it would be revealing the answers, but will have given the people that really wanted to play it, that knew about it, enough time so that they could tackle it. Because I would love to see that dynamic is the kind of player dynamic we want, and I'd love to see if it pans out.
Definitely, once Mobius is done, I'm sending it to term clerk at the Yogscast.
Sending it to term clerk? All right. Nah, I think Kelly sent out our current build, or I asked her to send out our current build to our lovely friends who made TikTok,
the makers of TikTok.
Give us a little bit of feedback, which would be really nice, and then we'll send them the final version. But that's on there. Then we get to our category, where we came after Battle Cubes.
I like our category name, Mindflux.
Yes, Mindflux was good. Well done. I'm pretty sure Tad named these.
Nice. Yeah, this was about where I had to dodge out because somebody, who I don't know who they were, somebody looked at my creative writing senior reading Thursday at 5:20 p.m. and said that this is when your game is going to live stream.
Right? I mean, you were so close. I kind of wanted it to happen. I wanted you to be talking to like 100 creative writing people at the exact same time that you are talking to like 300 game people, so that in total you're like...
viewership did go down during ours because it wasn't gameplay.
Yeah.
Non-gameplay interested people dipped. It was down to like 200. Like
yeah, it was like 200. I think
200 something.
I think it was pretty steady around 200.
But then I was like, to be fair, if you're not interested in this, why are you staying?
Yeah.
So And to be fair, I made it, and I tabbed out because I was like, I had this conversation already. I don't need to have it again.
I muted it and listened to the creative writing one.
I looked in. I interacted with chat.
Yeah, same. I told Bennett that our core mechanic allows you to play remotely, and he was like, "Cool."
Yeah. Bennett, please play the game. One of us will play it with you. Moving on from Mindflex, the high stakes category.
I love that they put an emoji in that. It's the only one with an emoji. It's got the like teeth grit emoji.
Yeah, but there were two fantastic games in that one. Triage was super dope. I loved their art style. I loved their vibe. I loved I loved the stream. How they streamed it was good. They had good.
How did they stream it? That's one of the ones I wasn't
they live streamed it. So they had a couple of the devs. But they had Stu playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stu's playing it, not quite understanding how to do it, which is great. Or maybe not understand, but had forgotten some stuff and was like floundering, which was quite funny. But the amazing thing in the chat was watching chat when they showed off the execute button, because obviously Triage, they are dealing with war injury. Sometimes you have to put someone out of your misery. So watching chat when they hit the execute button just explode with Fs was a sight to behold.
I believe it.
And then after that one was hands down the most innovative and interesting game that came out of this year, which is 5 Stars in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
5 Stars is the most clever idea that I've ever heard. It is entirely, they went, I want to use a force feedback steering wheel on my game, but what do we do? And the whole game entirely sound-based. Like, there are visuals so that there aren't none, but the entire game is you play, pair of headphones on, and you've got to be a rideshare driver. Apparently there's a noir story. Their voice acting was really good. I don't know where all these great voice actors came from.
Right? Maybe the film theater programs.
You could see in the credits for some games that there were people that were listed as, this person is a voice actor. Like, that's what they devoted their time to, so...
Yeah, but entirely silent where everything's based off of sound. And the fact that it, from what I saw on the stream, that it worked so well was insane.
Do you have any idea how they developed off campus, like without the resources of campus?
I have no idea. They do have fresh control. They have a control scheme outside of the steering wheel now.
Okay,
so I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
Probably how.
That's great. That means I can play it because I do want to play it.
Speaking of that control scheme, I'm very upset at Lauren, who in her thing was like, you can, if you don't have a Steeple, you can use the arrow keys. We did not bind WASD. We're not a WASD household. And I'm sitting there going, Lauren, why? Why are you making me use my tiny little arrow keys and not giving me controller bind options so I can use a WASD? I probably would just use a gamepad if I played it, because you can use a gamepad too. Driving games are better with a gamepad, but hands down a crazy innovation that they managed to pull off in a pandemic, which is the most insane thing.
Yeah, I definitely don't think any other games this quarter leaned as far into doing something that was so out there, for lack of a better word. Like, they're really, I think that they stand out in that category as someone
now is the time, you know? Like, I mean, obviously, in retrospect, maybe now wasn't the time. But at the time of pitches, it's like we are students. We can request whatever equipment we want, pretty much.
Weird. Let's go weird, yeah.
Let's go crazy.
And they did, and it worked. That game was crazy. It worked so well.
Yeah.
And like that was one that was about. That game was about to die in the pitching before Nathan was like, everything's going. So
yeah, the pitching process
was a real bummer.
I don't know. It's thinking the pitching process was so long ago, but it also feels like seeing some of the things that made it through and did really well, and some of the things that sort of petered out in the middle. I don't know. It makes me wonder if there's a better way to do pitching. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Neither can I. And I think that's the big thing is that, like, I think in the postmortems, pitching has always been something that's come up in the past as something that needs to be done better. And the difficulty is, it's very difficult to think of a way to do it better.
Were we supposed to do postmortems yet?
I don't know. There's an official postmortem next week.
Okay.
This upcoming week.
I
don't know if we have an actual
I'm gonna not worry about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
I think,
great.
Because we're not done yet. We'll do a postmortem in a couple months when we're done.
Right?
I meant for the class. I meant for the class.
I don't think so. I think there's a class. There's one about the series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's not happened yet. That's all I needed to know.
No, that's
but yeah.
Thursday.
I think that it's like it's partially a situation of like hindsight is 2020, but it's also makes me wonder if can we make a higher like batting average with a different pitching process. It's like there's always going to be unpredictability in like team composition and like who's going to not work together well and decide that they want to part ways, and there's always that kind of thing. But it's like, you want more stuff like 5 stars in the dark to be able to happen.
There are ways to do pitches that are like more true to industry pitches, but the only way to do that is to have teams form with an idea prior to being pitched, and pitching is just how you pick up people who weren't on these pre-made teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't love that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like you're just pitching to stragglers.
Yeah, and it's
stragglers
like
isn't a good word. It's people who like maybe they didn't build pre-existing relationships, or everyone that they know wanted to work on something different, or people that they know didn't want to work on the same thing.
Would not fix one of my primary issues, which is the feeling of popularity contest-ness. But I don't know how to avoid that, because if everyone wants to have their top 3 games that they want to work on, it's the only
way to do it is you got to do like a blind pitch where you don't know who's involved with what you're pitching.
Yeah, but the people are also integral.
You have to work with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really
so hard to like
the game idea.
I think it has to be a
little
bit, because you have to go. Because there were some games where I'm like, I love that idea, but I don't know if I want to work with who's pitching it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of has to be part of the decision you make.
Yeah, but it was also both ways, because it's like, oh, that's such a cool person who I have talked to, and I know they do good work, but I'm just not interested in this type of game that they're making. I don't play that type of game. I don't want to work on it. Yeah. Or, I'm not a 3D artist, or, etc.
I think part of the problem...
I'm not very good at drawing kangaroos.
I think part of
I wanted to be on... If we didn't do Mobius, Kangarumble was my, way up there.
We'll get to talking about Kangarumble.
If we didn't do Mobius, we would be in a very similar situation to what we currently are in, because I would have done Kangarumble, been the producer, and then you would have done art drawing kangaroos. So it would have been a similar quarter, but we all would have been working with Terry on Kangarumble.
We all would have been, it would have been a similar quarter, but Terry would have been here. And we wouldn't have made a podcast.
Yeah.
Are you sure we wouldn't have made a podcast?
I don't know if Terry let us.
No, that's fair. Yeah,
well, Terry didn't want to be a producer,
well, we can
so.
share. Yeah. We can still shelve the Kangarumble further discussion for when we get there, but Kangarumble, very cool game.
Everyone from Triage of 5 stars. The Andrews chunk of the stream played some cool games. I wasn't paying super attention to it outside of the highlight was I forget who on the Everybody Sad team was talking about it. It might have been Evie, who was talking about that there is a character in the game who's meant to teach you that you can say no to these people asking you to do things as a tutorial, and it's all these household objects that are asking you to use them. And apparently the tutorial that teaches you how to say no is a plunger played by Nathan.
Oh.
So they said that we don't have Nathan Altice in here, and he's going to be a plunger who teaches you to say no.
Nice.
And I'm like, that sounds fantastic, because that seems to fit everything so well.
Is this a GDA game? I missed this part.
No, this was a grad student game.
Oh, this is a grad student game.
Evie's been working on.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now, because I actually haven't seen this.
Yeah, I think this is when we were eating
dinner.
Food. Yeah,
and it was quite something.
Is it on Twitter? Where can I find Everybody's Sad? Because it's not on the Games Showcase website. Not that I could see. Maybe I missed it.
Oh, I've seen. It's a VR game.
It's a VR game.
I've seen this game because when I was making a VR game, I had to share the VR space with them making this game. So I have seen this actually.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool looking game.
Yeah, it looked really cool even in the early stages of development when I saw it.
Their big thing that they shared, though, because as grad students, they were pitching things like, what can we say to 170s, is take your game to festivals. Like, find them, take your game there. They're so much fun. And I'm sitting there going...
In the world where festivals exist.
When festivals are back, I'd love to go with some of my buddies to Sweden and, like, go to a festival.
Right.
Like, I'd be down. That
also,
sounds fun.
I don't know where this is. Alex, do you have a link?
No, I don't have a link.
Well, I'll find a link. If not, it'll be in the Twitch VOD from.
Yeah, it'll be on Twitch.
Do you know where that's gonna be, by the way?
It's on Twitch. I'm pretty sure.
It's just gonna be on the same Twitch channel.
It'll just be on the Twitch channel, yeah.
Yeah, like
also
you go
it
to
is
the
on
videos
Twitter.
on the Twitch channel.
Everybody's sad is on Twitter. Everybody's _sad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
But not a lot from Atlas or Where My Heart Is because I wasn't really paying attention to the stream. And then I left to eat during the GDA Direct, so I don't know a lot about Buds or Elevator Pitch. Other than Elevator Pitch seems kind of WarioWare-y.
Yeah, I saw Elevator Pitch trailer on Twitter, and I was like, that looks fun. That's all I can say about it, though.
Yeah, I submitted a couple Easter eggs to be in their trailer, but I don't know if they made it in.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know where they would have ended up, but there's cool stuff there. Pulling into that final category, though, the Couch Kickback, which had two of my favorite games of the night in it, both Magic Trick and Kangaroo Rumble.
Back to back.
Fantastic. Back to back. And I love Big Bang Bison, too. But let's go down the list. Magic Trick.
Beautiful art. Amazing. Beautiful
art.
Looks so colorful.
Yeah, the colors are really good.
I described it initially as like very Animal Crossing-y, but having recently started to play the Spyro the Dragon remake, it feels a lot more like the skating levels in the third Spyro game, but more colorful, with more interesting characters and cameos from like every instructor. I think Marcelo was a rabbit.
That's cool.
Like he was a purple rabbit. But the mechanics felt really fun. The world looked real nice. The skating sounds were aces. They sounded just like the skating sounds in every other skating game, which is exactly what you want them to sound like.
Right, you don't gotta reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You don't gotta reinvent the wheel on your... Yeah.
Hey, proving that point again.
I stumbled way too much to make it more simultaneous, but we were going in the same direction.
Yep. But their character design was great. I liked their that triple raccoon band. Where you could like get their logo and spray paint it on the wall, and it was a well crafted experience that I believe they did say they are still working.
I believe
I think so too.
Like they are going to keep going.
I think they said on Twitter.
If it's more worlds or like maybe different game modes, or I don't know what their plan is, but it's going to be. I'm going to wait until they give a final release before I download it. But they only have a Windows build, so I'm up shit creek on that one.
Maybe for their final release later in the summer, they'll have a Mac build.
Maybe. Maybe no one on their team has a Mac and they just can't make one.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's the one thing. We got to pull all the way back to Kigilantes because it has the vibe. It was the only game made in Unreal.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else was made in Unity.
And I believe it used blueprints. At least a little bit. Which has always been interesting to me.
Yeah, that's another thing that like I want to do with the next game we do is I want to use some Unity plugins.
Yeah, I'm like
that. Shout out to the Mix and Jam YouTube channel again. The plugin that he uses on almost everything is Do Tween that will do a bunch of tweens for you. Do Tween looks amazing. So we'll want to remember that. But let's pull back now. Talked about Magic Trick, Kangaroo Rumble. I believe this is not the first time we mentioned Kangaroo Rumble on this podcast. We've talked about the game that some of us would have worked on if they'd let us, because I didn't interview for it.
I think we all interviewed for Kangaroo Rumble.
I didn't. I interviewed for Bison and the Game Boy game. But probably, looking back, I would have probably also interviewed for Kangaroo Rumble.
Yeah, my two big interviews I did were actually, I think, Magic Trick and Kangaroo Rumble.
Same.
Yeah, but Kangaroo Rumble.
I'm trying to remember if I did a third one. I actually don't remember.
Let's talk a little bit about everyone on the team's second choice, Kangaroo Rumble.
Kangarumble. It is a
goddamn masterpiece.
Right? It was originally
I'm just gonna be a little bit more basic and say it was a multiplayer.
Originally a game maker game.
But it is a fighting game, and I absolutely love the rubber banding, where your turn gets shorter as you get further ahead. I love that it's turn-based, but still feels fast. You never feel like you're waiting.
It's got kind of a speedrunners or Ultimate Chicken Horse aesthetic.
Its soundtrack is an absolute banger.
Oh, yeah.
Every track is so good.
Didn't they have one person just dedicated to sound all year?
One guy. All 20 weeks was just writing songs.
So there you go.
And
that's how you get some good music.
Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. Every song is so good. Twitch chat was making tier lists for the kangaroos. You were either pro snoots or anti snoots.
What I would have loved in
Boxster or
a
anti-Boxster.
more, I guess like a bigger, quote unquote, bigger version of the game would have been like customizable kangaroos.
I feel like that's in their pipeline. Like,
yeah, because
the
it's
way
so
the kangaroos
like
look is it feels like you can those costumes look those costumes like breathe swappable, like they look super swappable. So I'm like, if I can just like have my own custom kangaroo,
I think that'd be.
I would spend $60 if Terry added that.
Yeah, I think that they did a good job of making the kangaroos that they have really distinct from one another, so that you're not confused about where you are and like who you are. And I think customization could be a fun way to lean further into that, because if you're like, I choose this bright red hat and this bow tie, I know that's me, or whatever it is.
The interesting thing about Kangarumble from a design.
My dad is calling me.
Oh my gosh. Was it a FaceTime? Did it stop the recording?
No, it's just a phone call. Let me text him that I'm going to call him back.
You were saying, Alex, about Kangarumble?
Oh, I was just going to say, the interesting thing about Kangarumble from a design perspective is that it came into this pitching process already being a good game. Like, I played the Game Maker version of it. It's like, this is mechanically a solid game. So they had 20 weeks to just make it amazing. Like, take it from a good concept to... I think a few of those weeks
were spent porting, though.
Yeah, but what I mean is, like, design-wise, the core mechanics were there.
Unity.
You know?
That's why I, at the time, didn't apply to work on it. Because all the work that I would have done was kind of already done.
Yeah.
Like as a programmer.
But in realizing all the advances that they had done, there would have been work for me.
Yeah.
I think.
As a UI programmer, I think that would have been very interesting.
Build the UI, improve the movement, stuff like that. But it is truly a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Really well made, well polished. It streams every week. I don't know what day, but it streams on twitch.tv/Kangarumble. Shout out.
Sure they have a schedule.
Hi, Terry, if you somehow made it to this podcast from me shouting out your Twitch channel.
Is that how that works? I feel like it goes the other way.
No. If a listener tells your Twitch chat that you came from this Mobius podcast, and then you came back to this podcast, thank you.
It could happen. Well, yeah, roundabout.
That is possible.
You're welcome for that shout out.
Nice.
And there's one game left before we're at the end of our list of games. 2 games left. Trials of Tenali and Big Bang Bison.
It's true.
I don't have a lot to say about Trials of Tenali beyond that I quite like their art style.
It's very interesting.
I dipped out of the stream again during theirs to go to the bathroom and get some food. So
that's the problem with 8-hour live streams.
I know.
I came back to Big Bang Bison, the game where Griffin was like, "Why do I get to close out the stream?" But Big Bang Bison is a ridiculous mess. It's super fun looking. The bison looks super good. The herding mechanic makes sense, and apparently when you finish herding all the bison, they explode and create the universe. So, aces. Gameplay looks solid. They built their AI in the AI class I took in the winter, so I saw like their AI get built up. And like their herding, I think their big technical thing was their herding AI that works real well. Their like herding window, that like little beam box that you could put all the bison in. But if you ever played a sheep herding minigame in like Red Dead or Legend of Zelda, Imagine if that was the entire game, but then it was better than sheep because it was buffaloes.
And also co-op.
And also co-op and competitive.
Co-op and competitive. 4-player.
Team competitive.
4-player team
hilarious.
based.
It's quite funny.
It is exactly what you would expect from this program.
Yeah, it's
real
well
executed, and just a ridiculous concept that you just wouldn't see outside of this kind of environment.
Yeah. Well executed memes, I think, are a really good, really good framework. I think
it's like the bread and butter.
Postmortem and say we need an award category called well executed meme. That goes to the most well executed ridiculous idea.
That's kind of what BANASAA
I suppose,
is about.
It's the well executed meme award.
It's the well executed meme award. But maybe it's just the meme award. Maybe you could just throw some random stuff up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But that's the last game on our list of all the games at the showcase.
It's true.
Not all of them. There were a ton of games that weren't on the stream. That were made in smaller capacities. There are some games that we didn't see on the stream that we missed that are probably great. I don't want to say anything because I didn't see them.
Yeah,
but
these are just the ones that we saw.
Every game was super good.
Yeah, I think the stream was focused on the senior games, the senior sequence games.
Senior sequence games, the GDA, and Everybody's Sad.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other like undergrad games that are usually involved in the showcase that I think are still there this year.
They're
games made
linked on the site and they're going to be judged. Yeah, they're linked on the site and they're going to be judged, but they're not live.
And then they might get streamed later in the summer. I don't know what the plans are for the streams later in the summer, but it is cool that it's continuing into the summer. Speaking of things continuing into the summer, judging is continuing into the summer. I believe we'll know the results.
Crushing it on that transition there.
Thank you. I thought of it and I thought it would be great, and then I did it, and now we're off topic again.
Yeah, we did it. That's our MO though.
Got a segue and drove right off that cliff.
Judging results come in a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think beginning of next month. Beginning of July, which I remember because we were saying that's great because that's when we want to resume work on the game for our team, for whoever is continuing in the summer.
From people I've talked to, everyone seems like they want to keep working. So hopefully we do keep everyone.
I definitely need a break, and so I'm glad we're taking the rest of the month off. I think that I'll feel ready to jump back in next month, and I hope we see everyone that we've worked with throughout the year there.
I'll be in a tent in the wilderness.
Just play like World of Warcraft and The Witcher.
No, Alex just said he's going to be in a tent in the wilderness.
Or go to be in a tent in the wilderness. Go off the grid.
The polar opposite of what my life has been for a while. Put down the gamer glasses for a hot minute.
I think I'm gonna camp at some point this summer too. I just don't know when yet. Probably somewhere in July. Go up to one of those places where it's only like 60 degrees in July, like Crater Lake.
Yeah. Get out of
Crater Lake's still in like the 40s now. It's insane.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's like 120 or something back
June at Crater Lake.
Back in the desert.
I'm looking forward to being at my parents' house and laying on the floor with the dogs.
Nice.
That's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the month.
Nice.
Quality stuff. One person's going to the wilderness. One person's got dogs. One person's got AAA video games that came out 2 years ago that he's finally getting the chance to play.
That's the being a student feeling, though. There's so many games.
I can finally play The Witcher.
I was looking at job applications this weekend because, I just graduated. I gotta get a job. But one of the jobs I was looking at that I haven't applied to yet was like, we encourage you to include a list of games that you've been playing recently with some commentary on what you've enjoyed about them. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. What games have I played recently? And I was like,
Mine, the one I've made.
Yeah. I think we
gotta play some games.
I know. I feel like whatever game I've played most recently was with Alex.
Don't Starve.
Oh, I was playing like Don't Starve. Yeah, we've also done like Jackbox with friends and Tabletop Simulator. But like
over the next couple weeks,
I think
as we keep working, is just go as a team. Let's invest into a couple just memey as hell multiplayer games and just play them all the time. so that we have games to talk about.
Yeah, but I think this question was geared at like, oh, we want someone who's like savvy with like what's happening right now in the games industry. I'm like, that's not me. I've been a student the last 4 years.
I can brag about games, but I haven't played anything I haven't played Spider-Man yet because I don't have a console I can play it on.
Yeah, console market.
Am I gonna buy the PlayStation 5? Maybe. It looks like a Wi-Fi router.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't watch the reveal stream because it was during our stream, and our stream was better.
Who planned that?
I don't know. It was kind of hilarious, but everyone watching the stream was like, "Fuck the PS5. This is way better."
Aww,
and then everyone found out about the new Ratchet and Clank game, and they were like, "I'm sorry."
They were like,
they gave us a female Ratchet.
Female Ratchet.
So what?
And they gave us Miles Morales and Spider-Man. So.
True.
Yeah. But what else did we want to say about moving forward?
Well, the Mobius production podcast is over.
We're done. This is the last episode.
This is the last episode of the Mobius production
podcast.
We're rebranding. Moving forward. Forming our own independent company. I'm not going to get a lawyer yet because we're not going to be asking for any money.
Yeah. But eventually we might.
One day we might become an LLC, but for now we are just an ethereal group of friends who make games.
Yeah.
Under the banner of Indie Boys. So the next episode is going to be the first episode of the Indie Boys game development podcast. Probably just called
fresh new logo.
The Indie Boys
courtesy
podcast.
Of Paula, who's going to take our old logo and just change one word on it.
Right, take off the word Mobius
and replace it.
It's gonna
be great. We're moving up in the world, technically speaking.
I think we could get a new designed logo for
we could see what Paula wants to do.
Yeah.
We could have seasonal logos.
Logos.
Could be fun stuff.
This is our fall
moving
logo.
Technically up in the world because
season to season.
I know what you meant.
Okay.
As long as we keep making games, we can technically say we have a job.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just doesn't make us any money.
No.
It could, but it won't.
It can make us theoretical money.
But the best thing was people going in there as like indie devs going, wait, y'all are getting paid?
Yeah.
Y'all are making the cash money? And the answer is
no.
For us, no. For them, yes. But it's like the important thing. We still don't hate each other. That's one. Somehow. And we're making games. We're making fun games. We're going to keep making games until we run out of ideas, I guess. Right.
I mean, I've been making games since the 5th grade. I don't think I'll be not making games anytime soon.
Now you got a team, though.
Yeah, it's true.
And we'll just keep making games.
Right.
Because it's fun to make games. It's fun to have an idea and to 6 months later see that idea, give that idea to people and have them go, this is really cool. Mm-hmm. Nicely done. Because that's what so many people did that have played it. Like, I know we've got some things. I'm going to check our itch, see if there are any comments on our itch page. Ooh. But people have played it and they've really liked it. One of the people I had playtested it, apparently playtested it like a week ago, is still talking about how fun it was.
That's crazy. That's cool. I don't think we have any comments on itch yet.
Go leave a comment on itch and it'll we'll read it in the next episode.
Right, we can do podcast. We can do season 2 Ep10. What's the praise? Why should you go play Mobius?
Reading our comments. We'll do one of those comment react episodes.
Honestly, if anyone leaves a comment on anything, it's gonna make it into this podcast.
Probably, right? Yes.
Any piece of feedback that we get from the outside world is gonna make it onto this.
Because we love your feedback if it's constructive.
Right.
Don't just be mean.
Yeah, with that caveat, nice. Constructive. We love your constructive feedback. Yeah. Also, your praise. You can just praise us. We'll just take blanket praise.
Be nice. Just be nice. Like enough people are mean in the world. Just be nice. That's all we want.
And maybe we'll branch out and do more game reviews or game reflections. I think would be interesting path for us.
Stuff to do. Are you just listing off reasons you want to talk to a couple of your buddies for 2 hours?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. If we're thinking if we do if we continue Indie Boys podcast being like a fortnightly thing, we could throw in some other types of things in there. I think would be cool.
A AAA reflection episode. That'd be fun.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah, we could give it a different
logo.
A different logo. Yeah.
But yeah, I think on that note, on that rambly note, as many of our episodes have come to end.
Oh yeah.
This is the end of this podcast. There will be a fresh new one on the same RSS feed. So technically nothing is changing except some namings and some logos. Mm-hmm. But and the fact that we're graduates now. We're done. We're out in the world.
We're no longer students. We're indie devs
and
now.
I am well terrified of that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna push those feelings down, make some games with my friends, and make this podcast, and just go, I'm okay for now. But this has been the Mobius Development Podcast. I'm Casey.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Alex.
And thank you very much for listening.